Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there? Or maybe you struggle to remember the name of an old friend, even though you can see their face so clearly in your mind? Don't worry, you're not alone. As we get older, it's normal to feel like our memory isn't as sharp as it used to be. But here's the good news. Your brain is like a muscle, and just like your body, it can stay strong and active if you give it the right kind of workout. Now, I know what you might be thinking. At my age, is it really possible to improve my memory and mental sharpness? Absolutely. Science has proven that the brain can continue to grow and form new connections, no matter how old you are. The key is to challenge it in the right ways. Today, we're going to talk about 5 simple brain exercises that can actually make you smarter, sharper, and more focused, even after 70. And the best part? These exercises don't require expensive programs, long hours of study, or complicated routines. They're easy, fun, and backed by real research. So, let's jump right into the first exercise. It's something that might surprise you, but it's one of the most powerful ways to keep your brain young and agile. Exercise number 1. The power of learning something new. Have you ever thought about learning a new language? Or maybe picking up a musical instrument? Before you shake your head and say, "I'm too old for that," let me tell you why this is one of the best things you can do for your brain. Studies have shown that when you challenge yourself to learn something new, your brain creates fresh neural pathways. Essentially, it builds new roads that help your thoughts travel faster and more efficiently. Think of it like upgrading from an old, bumpy road to a smooth, brand new highway. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a huge commitment. You don't need to become fluent in Spanish or master the piano overnight. Even spending just 10 to 15 minutes a day learning a few new words, trying out a simple melody, or challenging yourself with a new skill, like drawing or using a smartphone app, can have a huge impact. The goal is to push your brain outside of its comfort zone. When you do this, you're keeping your mind flexible, which is one of the best defenses against cognitive decline. I recently heard about an 82-year-old man who started learning how to play the ukulele. He'd never touched a musical instrument in his life, but he decided to give it a try. A few months later, not only could he play simple songs, but he also noticed that his memory and focus had improved. That's the power of lifelong learning. It keeps your brain young. Now, let's move on to our second brain exercise, which is something you're already doing every day, but with a little twist, it can become a powerful mental workout. Exercise number 2. Reading in a new way. Reading is one of the best ways to keep your mind sharp, but here's where most people miss out. They read the same type of material over and over again. Maybe you love mystery novels or stick to news articles, but your brain thrives on variety. When you expose yourself to different types of reading, whether it's history, poetry, science fiction, or even something as simple as reading aloud, you're giving your brain a workout. Think about it like this. If you only exercised your right arm every day and never used your left, one arm would get strong while the other stayed weak. The same thing happens in your brain. By reading different kinds of material, you engage different areas of your mind, which helps improve memory, comprehension, and even creativity. Here's an easy challenge. Pick up something you wouldn't normally read. If you love novels, try a biography. If you usually read the newspaper, flip through some poetry. And if you really want to challenge yourself, try reading something aloud. It may feel strange at first, but when you read aloud, your brain has to process the words in a different way, improving both memory and verbal skills. A woman I know, who just turned 75, started reading poetry out loud every morning. She told me she feels more focused during the day, and her ability to recall conversations has improved. Small changes like this can make a big difference over time. Now that we've covered learning something new and changing the way you read, let's talk about another brain exercise that works wonders. And you don't even need a book or an instrument to do it. Now that we've talked about the power of learning something new and the benefits of reading in a different way, let's dive into another brain-boosting exercise. This one might surprise you because it's something we often take for granted, but when done intentionally, it can work wonders for your memory and mental sharpness. Exercise number 3. The magic of mental math. When was the last time you did math in your head instead of reaching for a calculator? If you're like most people, it's probably been a while. But here's the thing, doing simple calculations in your head is like lifting weights for your brain. It strengthens problem-solving skills, improves focus, and even helps prevent memory decline. Think about when you were younger, before smartphones and calculators were everywhere. You probably had to figure out the cost of groceries in your head, calculate a tip at a restaurant, or quickly add up numbers when balancing a checkbook. These little mental exercises kept your brain engaged without you even realizing it. But now, with technology doing most of the thinking for us, we're using those skills less and less. And just like a muscle that isn't used, those abilities can weaken over time. The good news? You can bring them back easily. Next time you're at the grocery store, challenge yourself to estimate the total before you get to the register. Or when you're out for a walk, try counting backward from 100 in increments of 7, 100, 93, 86, 79. You get the idea. It might feel a little tricky at first, but that's exactly the point. It forces your brain to work in a new way, strengthening those important cognitive pathways. Some studies even suggest that people who regularly engage in mental math have a lower risk of developing dementia. So, the next time you're tempted to grab a calculator, stop for a second and try solving it in your head. It's a simple habit that can make a big difference over time. Now, let's move on to the fourth brain exercise, which taps into a part of your brain that's deeply connected to both memory and creativity. Exercise number 4. The Storytelling Challenge. Have you ever noticed that you can recall stories from decades ago, but sometimes forget what you had for breakfast? That's because our brains are wired to remember stories. We connect with them emotionally, and they activate multiple areas of the brain, making them easier to recall. Here's how you can turn this natural ability into a powerful brain exercise. Start telling stories out loud. Whether it's sharing a childhood memory with a friend, retelling a funny family moment, or even making up a fictional story, this process forces your brain to retrieve information, organize thoughts, and express them clearly. And the more you do it, the better your brain gets at it. If you want to take it a step further, try a simple challenge. At the end of the day, sit down and recall everything that happened in the past 12 hours. Not just the big events, but the little details, too. What did you see on your morning walk? What was the expression on the cashier's face at the store? What did you talk about on the phone? This kind of recall strengthens your brain's ability to store and retrieve information, keeping your memory sharp. I know a woman who started doing this as a bedtime routine. She would sit down and mentally replay her day, describing it out loud to herself. Within a few weeks, she noticed that she was remembering names and details much faster, and even recalling past events with greater clarity. The brain is like a filing cabinet. The more you practice organizing and retrieving memories, the easier it becomes. Now that we've explored these powerful brain exercises, let's move on to the final one, which is probably the most fun, and it comes with a surprising health benefit. We've already covered some powerful brain exercises. Learning something new, changing the way you read, sharpening your mental math skills, and the storytelling challenge. Each of these taps into different areas of the brain, keeping your mind sharp, flexible, and engaged. Now, let's talk about our final brain exercise. This one is not only fun but also has an unexpected bonus. It can actually boost your mood and reduce stress while sharpening your thinking skills. Exercise number 5. The Power of Music and Movement. Have you ever noticed how hearing an old song can instantly transport you back in time? Maybe a certain tune reminds you of your first dance, a summer road trip, or a special moment with a loved one. That's because music is deeply connected to memory and emotion. But beyond nostalgia, music actually activates multiple parts of the brain at once, more than almost any other activity. And when you combine music with movement, such as dancing, clapping, or even just tapping your feet, you supercharge the benefits. Research shows that listening to music, especially unfamiliar music, engages the brain in a way that strengthens memory and problem-solving skills. And if you take it a step further by learning song lyrics, playing an instrument, or dancing along, you're giving your brain an even bigger workout. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, I haven't danced in years. But don't worry, this isn't about being a professional dancer. It's about engaging with music in a way that challenges your brain. Try learning the lyrics to a song you've never heard before and singing along. If you play an instrument, spend a few minutes each day practicing a new tune. And if you're feeling adventurous, put on a song and move your body, even if it's just swaying in your chair or tapping your fingers. One woman I know, who just turned 78, joined a senior dance class for fun. Not only did she make new friends, but she also noticed she felt more mentally alert throughout the day. Her ability to recall names and conversations improved, and she even started sleeping better. That's the magic of music. It stimulates the brain, lifts the spirit, and keeps you engaged with the world around you. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. We've talked about 5 powerful brain exercises: learning something new, reading in a different way, doing mental math, practicing storytelling, and engaging with music and movement. Each of these taps into different areas of your brain, helping to improve memory, focus, and overall cognitive health. And here's the best part: none of these require hours of effort. Just a few minutes a day can make a real difference. The key is consistency. Your brain thrives on challenges, but they don't have to be difficult or frustrating. The goal is to have fun with it, keep your mind active, and enjoy the process of learning and growing, no matter your age. So, here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these exercises and try it today. Maybe it's telling a story to a friend, doing a little mental math, or listening to a new song and singing along. Whatever you choose, make it a part of your routine. And if you start noticing changes, whether it's better focus, sharper memory, or just feeling more engaged in life, come back and let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your experience. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more tips on staying sharp, healthy, and independent as you age. And remember, your brain is capable of amazing things. Keep challenging it, keep learning, and keep living fully. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.